So EDPR is a global renewables leader. We are today present in 28 markets, delivering wind and solar solutions to our different stakeholders, with more than 15 gigawatts of installed capacity. Earlier this year, we presented our strategic plan going all the way to 2026, and thus reinforcing our commitment to lead the energy transition through unprecedented growth. We are essentially targeting more than 4 gigawatts a year in terms of more new renewable capacity, totaling 17 gigawatts of addition, which represents 20 billion euros of investment in mature renewables. In APAC in particular, it will take a fair share of this investment. And since we entered into the region in March 2022, we've now more than doubled the capacity, the installed capacity, surpassing almost 1 gigawatt. And we are committing to triple that capacity by 2026. We're essentially approaching the APAC region towards delivering wind and solar, and within solar to deliver utility-scale projects, so bigger projects, together with decentralized generation, essentially enabling behind-the-meter products to our final customers. Our strategy is actually to indeed develop, build, and own through the long term these projects, partnering directly with the different corporate off-takers throughout the region. So essentially enabling them directly to decarbonize and to support the energy transition. This is ultimately a collective effort where the global renewable players, together with the corporates and the different RE100s and different governments, that join forces and actually put their own investments towards more clean, renewable, and affordable energy for us to support and address the energy transition. EDP Renewables Asia Pacific has today more than 400 megawatts here in Singapore, with solar PV system already in 2,700 building rooftops, representing more than 40% of the current installed capacity in the country. We are today providing clean, reliable, and affordable energy to roughly 60,000 households, contributing to Singapore's target of 2 gigawatts of installed capacity by 2030, which would then meet the annual needs of 350,000 households. Furthermore, Singapore has a clear ambition by 2035 to, by then, be importing roughly 4 gigawatts of low-carbon electricity, comprising roughly 30% of its electricity supply. So Singapore is not only doing everything it can within its own borders, but also seeking partners in the neighboring regions to create local ecosystems and industrial plays that will then enable these partners and countries to bring energy into Singapore. We are extremely excited to participate in this endeavor as well. Recently, we were awarded with a conditional approval by the energy market regulator to bring into Singapore roughly 400 megawatts AC from Indonesia. This project, which could be as big as 3 gigawatts of solar panels and batteries, could be ready as soon as late 2027. So this is really delivering short-term impact into the region and into the country in particular. And EDPR APAC is absolutely thrilled to be participating in helping the region and Singapore to decarbonize and reach its own net zero targets, which are extremely ambitious. There is no single silver bullet today to reach net zero emissions by 2050 globally. So we all know and understand today that it requires several fronts and a combined effort of more renewable generation, more electrification, and more energy efficiency. The power sector alone is responsible for 40% of global emissions, mostly coming from coal generation, which urgently needs to be phased out. In 2022, we actually saw the largest increase of renewable capacity to date, where the world added almost 300 gigawatts. And data is showing us that we are on the right track, because in 2023, we're expecting to shatter this record and almost grow by 400 gigawatts of installed capacity in renewables. So we are doing what we can, but it's still not enough. We need 1,000 gigawatts per year for us actually to reach our net zero targets going forward. But there are good tailwinds supporting this ambition. Today, mature renewables are already on average the most cost competitive technologies worldwide. And in terms of new construction of power supply, 90% of that is being done through renewable sources. Additionally, we expect capex of solar PV panels to still decrease by 30% by the end of the decade. We expect onshore wind costs to reduce a further 10%. And increasingly important, we expect batteries to actually decrease by 40% until 2030. So as costs decline and capacity deployment scales, we will also see an increase of power demand, which will then sustain the ambitions that we have on top of the table for us to be able to decarbonize. EDPR, precisely in the middle of this context, in the middle of this transition, wants to keep carrying more than its own weight. And so in APAC, our expectation is that we'll increase tenfold our size by 2030. As a company, we have net zero targets by 2040. And so we are actually pushing forward and helping not only ourselves, but also our customers and our stakeholders to decarbonize. And so it's our expectation that this momentum is carried further, and there is no energy transition without Asia Pacific actually delivering its own weight. And so that's why we made this move, and we are absolutely thrilled to be supporting the region with this ambition.